Hi, I'm Ines, and today I'm going to find out about land-based science. Let's go! In Britain, nearly 70% of all land is used for agriculture, but it involves a lot more than just farms with lambs, cows and fields of vegetables. As we try to do more to deal with climate change, how we use land will change, and that will create new job opportunities. In an effort to offset our carbon footprint, the Scottish Government has set targets for tree planting, which will mean more and more trees being planted across Scotland. The first stop on my journey was to see Annabelle at Christie Elite Nurseries in Moray. Their site in Forres is 220 acres and they produce over 10 million trees a year.
To start a new forest or a new woodland or anything, you can have two ways of doing it. You can do natural regeneration, where you wait for trees to naturally emerge, but they don't like to produce seed every year. So for us to plant forests and woodlands, you need a nursery, and we're the ones that start those seeds and produce a sapling, and it's those saplings that in the winter time all the planters plant, and that's the beginning of a woodland.
I had no idea that some of the trees that grow in our forests actually start their lives in a nursery. I figured I should go speak to someone to find out more about the importance of our woodlands.
Trees absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and as they grow they store that in their wood. The trees, when they're absorbing the carbon dioxide, that carbon is then stored in the wood and it remains there until the tree dies and it rots, and the carbon, some of it goes into the soil and some of it's released back into the atmosphere. But if the tree is harvested as part of a forest management programme and the wood is used, for example, as sustainable building material in houses, that wood will continue to store the carbon dioxide that tree absorbed from the atmosphere in that building. So you can actually have a carbon store in a building, you know, for several hundred years potentially, depending on the life of the building.
The final stop on my journey took me up north to a place called the Flow Country. It is one of the largest conservation sites in Scotland and stretches across Caithness and Sutherland in the North Highlands. Roxanne at the Environmental Research Institute in Thurso told me more about why the peatlands are so important.
So peatlands globally cover about 3% of the land mass. They hold in that very small area as much carbon as all of the plants of all of the planet. That's really important when we think about climate change. Here in Scotland, in the Flow Country, we have a particular type of peatland that's called blanket bog. It's a wet landscape, it's an acidic landscape, so all of these conditions make it a bit of an extreme environment where very, very specialised species can thrive. So peatlands are also important because of the water, and the water that they hold is clean water. And if you have people living around the peatland, then they depend on the peatlands and the quality of the peatland for the high quality of the water. So effectively, if you have peatlands in good condition, you have high quality water, you have really high biodiversity, and then you have this really important role of cooling the climate on the planet as well.
It's been brilliant finding out what can be done in just those two areas of land-based science. As our efforts to be more sustainable and do less damage to our planet continue to increase, so will the opportunities to work in this area. If the outdoors appeals to you, then it's an obvious career option to consider. But there's a lot more to it than just that, with research and other science-based jobs playing an important part too. Bye for now.